Stephenson theory, Arian's theory, two-state model, rate theory. 5 theories, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this session, I'll be talking about the receptor and classification of receptor, right? So mainly, I'll be talking about what is meant by receptor and how we can classify this receptor. Classification of receptor. So what I'll be teaching today, right? So before that, right? So we already studied about what are drug targets. So can you tell what are drug targets? So drug targets are basically some macromolecules which are present within the cell to which the drug molecule goes and interact to produce the biological response, right? So simple way to understand drug target is so some macromolecule, right? So say it can be a protein or nucleic acid or lipids or carbohydrates, glycoprotein, right? So all those are present within the cell. So the drug molecule, it can go and bind to any of this, right? So drug target, say receptor, drug target, where it forms a complex, drug receptor complex. Okay, and this lead for the biological response, right? These are what are called as druggable targets, right? So proteins are, the best druggable targets. So before that, right, I just want to show you these are the approved drug molecules and the corresponding drug targets, right? So if you look at this, right, so we have different color coding here in this pie chart, right? So this region 26.8%, right? So this corresponding for GPCR, G protein coupled receptor. Okay, again I repeat. So this pie chart shows the different types of drug targets. So 26.8 percentage of the drug molecule which targets GPCR, which stands for G protein coupled receptor, right? So which is a kind of protein molecule. So if you look at this, 13 percentage of this color, right? So this corresponding for 13 percentage, and this 13 percentage corresponding for nuclear receptor. Again, it's a kind of protein molecule, right? So the first one is a protein, second one is also protein. So if you look at this third, right, so 7.9 percentage of the drug molecules which targets ligand gated ion channel. So ion channels again they are protein. Okay, so based on this, we can say many approved drug molecule they targets protein. Even though we have 4 classes of drug targets: protein, nucleic acid, lipids, carbohydrates, or glycoprotein. Most of the approved drug molecule they target this protein. Okay, so we have different types of protein. We have enzymes, we have receptor, ion channels, structural protein. Many other types of proteins are present within the cell. It's a kind of classification of proteins, right? So mainly what I'm going to talk to you is about the receptor, types of receptor, and how we can make use of receptor as a successful drug target. That's what I'll be talking to you in the next 15-20 minutes, right? So coming to the receptors, mainly I'll be talking about the structure and function of receptor. So first we have to understand what is a receptor, right? So enzymes you might already studied. Receptors, I don't know whether you already have idea or not. So what are receptor? So receptors are considered as most important drug targets in medicine. Many drug molecules, more than 40% of the drug molecule which targets GPCR, which is a kind of receptor, G protein coupled receptor, right? So for pain, depression, Parkinson's disease, heart failure, asthma, many other problems, right? For almost all these problems, we have many drug molecules which got approved by FDA, and they target any of the receptor within the cell. Okay, so what is the main function of this receptor? So these receptors are actively participating in cell communication, right? So if one cell has to communicate with other cell, right, so which is mediated through this receptor. Okay, so also it controls and primarily from brain and spinal, right? So I'll give some example for this function of receptor. So many for many receptor there will be a kind of messenger molecule. Okay, so let's say this is the receptor. Okay, so how? Okay, so say this is the cell, and this is the receptor which is present. Okay, let me draw clearly, right? Say this is the cell, and this is a kind of receptor which is present on the cell membrane. Okay, so here this is a receptor.
Sir, I am quite busy. Like, why do you want to disturb me? I just come now to my
Okay.
campus and
This
it's
is a receptor.
for you to disturb me in the morning.
Okay, so what happens that
Okay.
So,
I have a lot of commitments.
the communication should take place, right? So some cascade of events should be taking place within the cell.
This, sir. I do not know about the candidate.
Okay.
Call பண்ணிட்டு
So for example, there is a small messenger molecule, and this small messenger molecule goes and bind to the receptor, and because of the binding of the molecule, messenger molecule to the receptor, which initiate some cascade of reactions or signaling cascade which takes place, right? Say for example, synthesis of some molecule. Okay, so how do the cell knows that it should synthesize the molecule? Some messenger molecule should come in contact with the receptor and give that information to the cell, right? So what actually happened is that so some extracellular molecule binds to the receptor which is present on the surface of the cell, which again initiate cascade of signaling inside the cell, right? So those molecules or small molecules are called as messenger. So all these molecules which are represented here, they are good example for messenger molecule. So acetylcholine. Okay, so this is an endogenous ligand molecule that goes and bind to a receptor called as acetylcholine receptor. So dopamine. Okay, again endogenous molecule. Our body synthesizes this molecule. It goes and bind to some receptor and activates the receptor or inhibit the receptor. So serotonin is another important small molecule, endogenous molecule. They all comes under either neurotransmitter or hormones, right? So they goes and bind to the receptor and activates the receptor, right? So this is a simple example for so say for example okay yeah so this is the receptor, graphical illustration of whatever I have explained to you, right? So this is a receptor, and this is small endogenous molecule, messenger molecule, and this small endogenous messenger molecule goes and bind to the receptor. So here you can see that it bound. So this neuron is releasing the messenger, right? So the neuron, it synthesize and release large amount of messenger. Okay, it's a neurotransmitter. This is an example for neurotransmitter. So it goes and bind to the corresponding receptor. Okay, so this illustration shows the binding of the messenger to the receptor. So because of the binding of the messenger to the receptor, here you can see that cascade of signaling takes place inside the cell. So this is inside of the cell and this is outside of the cell. Okay, so what is our understanding? Messenger, it carries some message. That's why it is called as messenger. It carries a message. Okay, because of the binding of the messenger to the receptor, it transfer that information from outside of the cell to inside of the cell. Okay, that's the main job of this receptor. So the main job of receptor is taking the information from outside of the cell and transferring that information to inside of the cell. Okay, for that it absolutely need the messenger molecule. There are so many messenger molecules which are produced within the body, right? So again, messenger, it carries some message. It goes and bind to the receptor binding site. Here you can see it bound to the receptor. Okay, so now the message which carried by the messenger is transferred to the receptor, and receptor transfer that information inside the cell. So after transferring the information, there is no job for this messenger. The messenger leave. So it's like the reaction is taking place in both direction. So both association is and dissociation, just like the enzyme substrate, right? So after the conversion of substrate to product, right? So both the product and it should be released, right? So that is what exactly happening here. Very similar to the relationship between the drug molecule and the drug target, right? So the relationship is it takes place in both association and dissociation is taking place. Okay, so this already I discussed in one another lecture, right? So here for example it's a neurotransmitter. Okay, so this is structure of small molecule, endogenous ligand molecule, and this is the structure of the receptor. So receptor is having a well-defined binding site, so to which this endogenous ligand molecule goes and bind, right? So it binds. So here you can see this molecule is bounded to the receptor. Okay, so here if you look at this, this interaction is not so strong because the distance between the positive charge and negative charge is too large, right? Just for understanding purpose, right? So if we reduce the distance between this positive charge and this negative charge, what may happen is that the interaction may be strong. So in order to make the fit so tight, or in order to make the interaction more stronger, what the receptor does is it undergoes some kind of conformational change. So here you can see the conformational change, right? So the receptor is having some shape here that is changed here. You can see the distance, right? So distance is, this, the way to understand this is that there is a kind of conformational change here. It is very clearly visible. The conformational change takes place. So why this conformational takes place? The conformational change takes place in order to accommodate the incoming messenger molecule in a tight way. This is called as induced fit, right? Okay, so you take this information, and I'll explain later about this in more detail, right? So why this all this happening? Just for example, this is an ion channel. Okay, so we already know ion channel. The basic, the function of ion channel is the ion channel. It should be used for either transferring the molecule inside the cell or outside the cell. Okay, so once if the ion channel is closed, the ions cannot enter the cell or it cannot leave the cell. Once if the ion channel is open, the ions it can enter the cell, and it can leave the cell. So this is an illustration in which the ion channel is by default it is closed. Okay, so the channel is closed. So the ions which are present inside the cell, it cannot go out, or the ions present outside the cell, it cannot come inside the cell because of the binding of the messenger, right? So in this you can see, so as I illustrated here, so after the binding of the messenger, some conformational change should be takes place. There should be some conformational change, and that conformational change leads for opening of the ion channel. Here you can see now the ion channel is open. So now what may happen is either the ions it can enter the cell or it can leave the cell. Both can takes place, right? We can classify the receptors into 4 types. This ion channel is also an example for ion receptor, right? So we can classify this receptors into 4 types, or 4 families. The first family is called as ligand gated ion channel ionotropic receptors. Second family is called as G protein coupled receptor metabotropic receptors, and the third family is called as kinase linked receptor, and the fourth family is called as nuclear receptor, right? So there's a main difference between the first 3 and the last one. The first 3 receptors, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the location of this receptor is on the surface of the cell, but the location of the 4th receptor is it will be present in the nucleus of the cell. Again, I repeat, we can classify the receptors into 4 types: ligand gated ion channel, G protein coupled receptor, kinase linked receptor, and nuclear receptor. Okay, so the main difference between the first 3 and the last one is the first 3. Okay, the location of those receptors is surface of the cell, but the 4th receptor family, nuclear receptor, the name itself says that the location of that protein, it is present inside the nucleus. It's a nuclear receptor, right? Okay, so the example for ligand gated ion channel, it's an ion channel, right? So it can either the binding of the drug molecule to the receptor. So this pink color is the drug molecule, the binding of the drug molecule or messenger molecule to the receptor, that lead for either opening of the ion channel or closing of the ion channel. So the ion channel is now open here. GPCR is once if the ligand molecule bind to the receptor, so what happens, it activates another protein molecule which is present intracellularly, It is called as G protein. Okay, then this G protein, this is called as secondary messenger. Okay, this is called as secondary messenger. Again, I repeat, the messenger molecule comes and bind, so it carries a message and transfer that message to the receptor because of the binding of the molecule to the receptor. And this complex itself activate another protein molecule which is present intracellular. This is extracellular and this is intracellular, which activates the intracellular protein molecule, small protein molecule, okay, called as G protein. And this G protein again activates or inactivate ion channel, whatever it is, right? So then this is called as, this G protein is called a secondary messenger, right? So third is the kinase linked receptor. Okay, so in which the binding of the protein, so the binding of the messenger to the receptor, which activate phosphorylation of different amino acids which are present in the protein molecule. I'll explain everything in detail later, right? Then that lead for the cellular effect. The last one is nuclear receptor. This receptor is present within the nucleus. Okay, so here you can see this is the nucleus and the receptor is present. Receptor. So the messenger, it can be a primary messenger or it can be a secondary messenger. The example for primary messenger is the neurotransmitter which bind to the receptor. The example for secondary messenger is G protein, activation of G protein, right? So these are the points you have to remember for the examination point.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, your voice was not audible for the past few seconds.
Okay, I repeat, right? So one second. Now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't know from where I should explain.
You told something about primary, I guess. It was not audible from them.
This slide, is it understandable or should I repeat?
So can you repeat this slide?
Okay, I repeat. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay, if the voice is not audible, just let me know immediately, right? I don't know whether is there any internet issues. Okay, so basically we can classify the receptors into 4 families. The first family is called as ion channel. Okay, so we have different types of ion channel. We will see that later. The second family is called as GPCR, otherwise called as G protein coupled receptor. And the third family is called as kinase linked receptor. And the fourth family is called as nuclear receptor. Okay, so what we are trying to understand is that proteins are major drug target. Okay, so one kind of protein is receptor. And we can classify the receptor into 4 families: ion channels, G protein coupled receptor, kinase linked receptor, and nuclear receptor. So in this slide, this illustration shows what's the main function of each of this family of receptor. Okay, so what is represented up to this is an example for the first family of receptor called as ion channel. So we'll take ligand gated ion channel. It can, the ion channels, it can be of either ligand gated ion channel or there are different types of ion channels, right? So one is the ligand gated ion channel. So this is controlled by completely messenger. So the messenger molecule comes and bind to the receptor, which is present on the surface of the cell. So as I already told that it carries a message. Okay, the binding is because it has to transfer that information to the receptor. So here it transfer the information. So here this messenger is example for primary messenger. Okay, that's the first messenger which carries the information and transfer that directly to the receptor. Okay, so mainly, the main job of this messenger in family 1 is, since it is an ion channel, the binding of this messenger will lead for either opening of the ion channel or closing of the ion channel, mostly opening of the ion channel. So because of the binding of the messenger, here you can see the ion channel is now open. So either the molecules which are present inside the either the ions which are present inside the cell or present outside the cell now they can pass through this open. They can enter the cell or they can leave. So the point to remember is the ions, they cannot undergo passive diffusion. If the molecule is neutral and if the molecule is highly hydrophobic, then they can use the passive diffusion, otherwise they cannot use. Okay, the only way for the ions to enter into the cell is only through the ion channel. So that's why this ion channels are very important. Sometimes your drug molecule may be present in its ionized form. Okay, if you ask a question whether this molecule can enter into the cell or not, absolutely they can enter if they have, if they have some suitable ion channel that allow this molecule to enter the cell or leave the cell. That's the first class. So second class is slightly different. G protein coupled receptor. Okay, so the main job of this receptor is like principle is same, right? So there is no much difference, but it is not ion channel. It's not ion channel. So the messenger molecule comes and bind to the receptor. Okay, so transfer the information to the receptor. Okay, so because of the binding, we cannot find the direct effect. Okay, so here you can see the direct effect is open binding of this messenger to the receptor opens the ion channel. That will not take place in G protein coupled receptor. So here the primary messenger binds to the receptor and activates the secondary messenger. What is secondary messenger here? There are some small protein molecules which are present inside the cell called as G protein. The activation of the receptor by the messenger, primary messenger, which activates another protein molecule called as G protein, and that goes and interact with some other component of the cell. It can either activate the another ion channel or it can inhibit certain things, right? So we will see that later. So this G protein is an example for secondary messenger. So primary messenger transfer the information to the receptor. The receptor transfer that information to another protein called as G protein, and G protein that initiate the response, cellular effect, right? So either inhibiting the ion channel or opening the ion channel. That is what happens in the family type 2. So coming to family 3 of receptor is kinase linked receptor. Okay, so example is insulin receptor is an example for kinase linked receptor. So what happens is mainly this type of kinase linked receptor. So kinase, the main job is phosphorylating, right? So what it does is that it phosphorylate some amino acids which are present in the protein molecule that lead for some cellular effect. So here you can see the binding of the messenger molecule to the receptor that lead for protein phosphorylation. Okay, because of the phosphorylation, gene transcription may takes place, which may again lead for protein synthesis and finally end up with some cellular effect. That is an example for family 3. So coming to family 4, again I repeat, family 4 is quite different from other 3 in the sense that all other receptors are present on the surface. Family 4 protein receptor, they are present inside the nucleus, not on the surface of the cell. So the messenger should first enter into the nucleus where it has to find the family type 4 nuclear receptor. So binding of this messenger lead for gene transcription, protein synthesis, and finally the cellular effect. So this is the way how we can classify the receptors into 4 families. Any question up to this?
No, sir.
No, okay. So here, the 4 main types of receptors. What's the location? As I said, that superfamily type 1 is membrane, 2 is membrane, 3 is also membrane, but 4 is present within the nucleus, so it is intracellular. So what is the effector? The effector of type 1 is it is an ion channel. Okay, ion channel, again it can be ligand gated ion channel or it can be voltage gated ion channel. Okay, so voltage can also control the opening and closing of ion channel. We'll see that later, right? So the effector is ion channel for the family 1. For family 2, it can be a channel or enzyme. Okay, activation of the G protein coupled receptor, it can affect either opening closing of ion channel or it can activate or inactivate enzyme. I'll explain this detail in coming slides, right? The point is this effect is not direct effect. This is through secondary messenger. So you should know what exactly is the meaning of secondary messenger. In case of G protein coupled receptor, the main secondary messenger is the G protein, small protein molecule present inside the cell. So the effector for third family is the protein kinase. Okay, so there are hundreds of kinases which are present within the cell. So they can specifically activate certain kinases which can phosphorylate some amino acids which are present in the protein molecule. And the effector of type 4 is gene transcription. That is why this type of receptor is present within the nucleus. Okay, which mainly affect the gene transcription process. So coupling, coming to the coupling, right? So this is a very important slide for examination point. It's a direct coupling. Okay, direct effect. But for family 2, it is mediated through the G protein. It's not direct effect. And the third one is again direct effect like the first family. And the fourth one is via DNA. Okay, so examples for family type 1 is say GABA receptor, acetylcholine receptor, nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. These are example for family type 1. These are called as ion channels. Very important ion channel. Example for type 2 is muscarinic acetylcholine receptor, adrenoceptors. Okay, so these are called as G protein coupled receptor, which activates G protein and transfer the information through the G protein secondary messenger. So example for type 3 receptor is, as I said, insulin receptor. There are some growth receptors which are example for type 3 receptor kinase. Cytokine receptor is an example for type 3 receptor kinase. So example for type 4 is steroid receptors. We have many steroid receptors which are example for type 4, right? So coming to the structure, so if you take the ion channel that belongs to family 1, so which are oligomeric assembly of subunits surrounding central pore. I'll show that in some other slide. I think structure we'll see in some other slide, right? So yeah, here we have the structure. This is general structure, very important for examination point, right? Definitely you'll get some question out of this. Slide is considered as very important for understanding both the receptor as well as for the examination point. So as of now, our knowledge is that we can classify the receptors into 4 types: type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. So this is type 1, this is type 2, this is type 3, and this is type 4. So here, if you look at the structure, right? So in this slide, we just want to understand that what is the general structure of type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4 receptor. So if you look at the general structure of type 1 receptor, okay, so ligand gated ion channel, ionotropic receptor. So this is the N terminal of the protein molecule, and this is the C terminal of the protein molecule. Okay, C terminal and N terminal. Okay, if you take any protein molecule, it is made up of amino acid, many amino acids joined together, right? So there should be one end called as C terminal, there should be another end called as N terminal. Okay, always all the protein will be having 2 end, C terminal N and N terminal N. So the point to understand is that for this superfamily type 1 protein receptor, so the N terminal and C terminal, they are present in the extracellular region. So this region is the extracellular region, and this region is called as intracellular region. So if you look at this structure carefully, right, so we can say that both the N terminal and C terminal, they are present in the extracellular region of extracellular region of the cell. First point, right? Second point is that, so this blue color region, right? So you have some cylinder structure like blue color cylinder structure, right? So this, and this, these are called as transmembrane helix. These are called as transmembrane helix, right? So these are embedded within the membrane. So if I ask a question, how many number of transmembrane helixes used to be present in family type 1 receptor? So it will be approximately around 4 to 5 transmembrane helixes. Okay, 2 points I discussed regarding the structure of family 1. First is, okay, what is the location of N terminal and C terminal? both N-terminal and C-terminal, they are present in the extracellular region. Second point is how many number of transmembrane helices used to be present for ligand-gated ion channel or family 1. So approximately around 4 to 5. So coming to the general structure of family 2, G protein couple receptor. Okay, so first we had to look where the N-terminal is present. And okay, one more point, right? So first, second, and third point is that where the ligand binding domain is present for family 1. So this region is the ligand binding domain. The ligand binding domain is present in the extracellular region. Okay, N-terminal, C-terminal, they are present in the extracellular region. 4 to 5 transmembrane helices, and the ligand binding domain is present in the extracellular region. So coming to family 2, N-terminal is present in the extracellular region, but the C-terminal is present in the intracellular region. So this region is the extracellular region, and this region is the intracellular region. First difference, if you compare this with the family 1, N-terminal is present in the extracellular region, C-terminal is present in the intracellular region. So coming to the second point, how many number of transmembrane helices? If it is a GPCR, right? So GPCR, otherwise called as 7TM receptor, which means that they should always have 7 transmembrane helices. If you compare this with family 1 will be having 4 to 5 transmembrane helix, but all the receptors that belongs to family 2, they should have 7 transmembrane helix. So first transmembrane helix, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Exactly, they will be having 7 transmembrane helix. Okay, so the third point regarding family 2 is where the ligand binding site is present. The ligand binding domain can be present in 2 places. One is in the extracellular region, so this region. The another one is somewhere on the transmembrane region, somewhere on the transmembrane region. If we compare this structural feature with structural feature of family 1, for family 1, the ligand domain should only one ligand domain that should be present in the extracellular region. But for family 2, there may be 2 ligand binding domain. One may be present in the extracellular region. The another one can be present in the transmembrane region. Is it understandable?
Yes, sir.
The fourth point regarding this structural feature of family 2 is that, so here, right? So here you'll be having the G protein. Okay, so this protein will be having G protein coupling domain. So whatever is highlighted here as this is called as G protein coupling domain. Okay, this family of protein should have a domain in the intracellular region called as G protein coupling domain. To this domain, the G protein will go and bind. Okay, go and bind, get activated. Okay, so again I repeat, 4-5 important points related to the family 2 is N-terminal is present in the extracellular region, C-terminal is present in the intracellular region. There are 2 possible binding domains, ligand binding domain. One can be present in the extracellular region, the another one can be present somewhere in the mid of the transmembrane helices. Okay, the third point is all the protein that belongs to this family, all the receptor that belongs to this family will be having exactly 7 transmembrane helices. And the fourth additional point is in the intracellular region, this GPCR will have a specific domain called as a G protein coupling domain, to which the G proteins will come and bind. Is it understandable? Is it understandable?
Yes.
Yeah. So coming to the third type of family, right? So third type is tyrosine kinase linked receptor. So for this family, the first point is the N-terminal is present in the extracellular region and the C-terminal is present in the intracellular region, just like family 2. Okay, this architecture is very common for family 3 and family 2 and family 3. N terminal in the extracellular region and C terminal in the intracellular region. First point. Second point is how many number of helices. Okay, so all the receptors that belongs to family 3, they should have only one helix. You can see only one transmembrane helix will be there. Second point. So third point is where the ligand binding domain is present. For this family of protein, the ligand binding domain is always present in the extracellular region. Okay, this is very similar to family 1. Okay, so the speciality of this family is that just like GPCR, this family of receptor has a catalytic domain. Okay, and that catalytic domain is responsible for the phosphorylation. Okay, so the beauty of this protein that belongs to family 3 is that they act as receptor as well as enzyme. Okay, catalysis is the term that is highly associated with enzyme. So if I say that it has some catalytic domain in the intracellular region, it means that this protein molecule has two functions. One is it acts as receptor. So the function of a receptor is transferring the information outside the cell to inside the cell. So it does that job. Second job is in intracellular region, it has its own catalytic domain. So using that catalytic domain, it undergoes catalysis process. What it catalyzes? So it catalyzes the phosphorylation reaction. That is what happens in this domain. Okay. So third structural feature is all the proteins, all the receptor that belongs to this family, they should have only one transmembrane helix. So coming to the last family, right? So if you look at this family, right? So they won't be having a transmembrane helix because as we said that this receptor is not on the membrane. It is present inside the nucleus. So you cannot find any transmembrane helixes, right? So what are the important feature? The important feature is that the C terminal and N terminal both are present. Okay, both are present intracellular. This is the first case in which both the C terminal and N terminal, they are present intracellularly because this protein is not embedded in the membrane. So what are the important domains which are present in this protein family? So it will be having a ligand binding domain to which the messenger molecule will bind. So this is the ligand binding domain, and there is a special type of domain called as DNA binding domain with some specific motif like zinc finger motif, right? So this is the region of the protein molecule or the receptor which goes and interacts with the DNA and controls the transcription of the DNA, right? So these are the various characteristics of 4 families of receptor, and this is considered as very important for the examination point. So I think we have 1 more minute. Any question I can answer. So any questions?
No, sir.
So in the next lecture, we will see the more details about the mechanism of each superfamily with some good examples, right? Suitable examples. So if no question, I think we can wind up the session.